that the fact that we can hold families together indefinitely until they get their day in court.
And the goal is not to hold families indefinitely. The goal is to bring an organization to a situation that's out of control because people were abusing it. They were grabbing kids in a third of the cases that were not theirs, recycling those kids in order to get into the interior of the country in 20 days. Now, how bad is this? More than 432,000 members of family units have been taken into custody from October through July. How much worse is it last year? An increase of 456%. That's the definition of a crisis.
So they come across our border. We put them in a detention facility. If they have kids with them, they can be released right now after 20 days. The president is saying, look, the majority of these people are good people, but what if in that mix is a criminal? What if in that mix is a killer? He's saying we need to hold them together because some of these kids aren't even their parents. They're lying to get across the border. So he's saying, let's just hold them together until they get their day in court.
And that's just as a key thing is killers and criminals bad. But what's worse is people abusing the system to break the asylum system, just grabbing a kid because I'd rather be in America than another country. That's just not the way it works.
Right. This is a loophole the president regards. It's catch and release, he says. And what it will do is it will keep, if it is a family, going to keep them together until they get their day in court. The maximum time they stay until they get their day in court. Nonetheless, Democrats say the new regulations will traumatize children.
I think that the Trump administration people sit around every single day thinking up new ways to be cruel to these migrants.
Immigrant families and specifically kids, they'll be held literally indefinitely at the pleasure of the Trump administration. It's kind of like Guantanamo.
They would rip kids from the bosoms of their mothers.
Yes, that is totally outrageous and inaccurate, and that's one way you want to spin it.
Right, it's not indefinite. It's until they get their day in court.
And they estimate about 2 months is what the system needs because they got about 900,000 people in backlog. So here's what some of the headlines building on those pundits said. The New York Times call it migrant families would face indefinite detention under a new Trump rule. The Washington Post says the Trump administration's new rule could prove devastating for migrant children at the border. USA Today, which is still free, Trump administration to hotel stayers. Trump administration announces plan that would let it detain undocumented children indefinitely.
It's not indefinitely. Kevin McAleenan yesterday said they were trying to get this going through as quickly as possible until they get their day in court and find out whether or not they have a valid asylum claim.
Well,
so, go ahead.
The president was reminding folks, he said, hey, this has been going on